You're listening to the Astromommy Daily Horoscope, a forecast that hopes to shine a light in the dark, helping us all see where we've been, where we are, and where we're going. Whether you're a first-time listener or a long-time subscriber, thanks for being here. I truly appreciate you being in the Astromommy community. I hope you enjoyed today's horoscope and card reading. If you would like to support the Astromommy newsletter, there are several ways to do so. Subscribe on Substack, share it with a friend, schedule a reading, check out my family's Etsy shop, Metaphysical Flamingo, or just leave a tip. Without further ado, here is the Daily Horoscope. Lunar Eclipse in Scorpio explained, and horoscopes for all 12 signs. Daily Horoscope for Friday, May 5th, 2023. Good morning, friends. Last night I had this odd dream. There was a small wooden jewelry cabinet that had many drawers and little cabinets to hold rings and bracelets and stuff, and it had metal rods that stuck out from the sides to hold necklaces. Besides the metal rods sticking out, it also had all of this ornate metalwork coming off of it, surrounding it and making the whole piece very heavy and wide, about 6 feet wide and 2.5 feet deep. The total piece was massive, but the jewelry cabinet itself was small and compact. It did hold a fair amount of jewelry, but the amount of space that it needed was enormous for the amount of usable space it provided. I wanted that jewelry cabinet. In real life, I have been shopping for jewelry cabinets, and so this was something that I truly need. It was so beautiful, shiny, and unique, but reality sunk in, and I realized in my dream that it would take up my entire dresser top, and it would displace everything else. It was just too impractical for me to buy it, so I had to pass it up. I had to let my desire to possess this piece of furniture go, and it was hard, especially since I did need its services. I feel like this dream represents this lunar eclipse in Scorpio to me so clearly. Clinging to an idea, a desire, a dream, a possession, because we want it, and what we want is like the sun conjoined Uranus, bright, shiny, and revolutionary. But then reality sinks in and we realize that we have to let it go, release it, and move on, ending our obsession with it. Today we are going to explore the significations of this lunar eclipse in general, the corresponding tarot card and the decan, and then horoscopes for all 12 signs, illuminating where in our personal charts we may feel this polarity. First, what is a lunar eclipse? A lunar eclipse is when we have a full moon, but the Earth blocks out the light of the sun and casts its shadow on the moon by being in between the two. This lunar eclipse will be at 1:33 p.m. Eastern Time and will be visible in some parts of Europe, most of Asia, Africa, and Australia. In some areas, it will be visible at night, while in others, it will be occurring during sunset. You can check out the visibility at your location by visiting timeanddate.com at this link here. Unfortunately, timeanddate.com will not be live streaming this event. I was also unable to find a live stream anywhere else on the internet, so the best bet may be to look for individuals streaming live on their own social media platforms or YouTube channels during the eclipse. Please let me know if you find a recording of this event, and I will do the same. You can see in this picture from Solar System Scope, the moon is in alignment with the Earth and the sun, creating this effect. Astrologically, a lunar eclipse is a really intense full moon, so it brings with it the energy of endings, culminations, and commencement, but much more powerful and extreme. The effects of eclipses are said to affect the next 6 months. Eclipses also seem to shake the world at large and represent pivotal events that may happen that affect large groups of people. On a personal note, because this lunar eclipse is happening in Scorpio, you can expect a powerful ending in the house that Scorpio rules in your chart. Above is the chart of this lunar eclipse. As I said before, it will be at 14 degrees Scorpio, 58 minutes, today, May 5th, 2023, at 1:33 p.m. Eastern Time. A few notable things about this eclipse are that the Sun is conjunct Uranus and Mercury retrograde, all in Taurus, and very close to the North Node. So these planets are all in opposition to the Moon in Scorpio. The Moon in Scorpio is in her fall and is very close to the South Node. The traditional ruler of Scorpio is Mars, and Mars is in Cancer, which the Moon rules, and Mars is in his fall as well. So the Moon and Mars are in a mutual reception with one another and both in the signs of their fall. This is a really interesting part of this lunar eclipse because both the Moon and Mars being in the signs of their fall and also in a trine relationship to one another by whole sign means that they have a beneficial, easy connection, but they both are unable to actually give significant resources to the other. My teacher, Adam Ellenboss, in his recent video on this eclipse, said that this connection is like, quote, two drunks helping each other get home from a bar, unquote. This is a great analogy for this relationship. I'd like to add to that by saying that if the moon needs something from its host, Mars, she may make the call, and Mars may answer because he's a good friend to the moon, but she'll find out that Mars is in his cups, as they would say in Elizabethan times, and not be very coherent. He may really want to help, but if she needs him to get in the car and come pick her up, for instance, he would be putting himself and her at risk by doing so in his current state. This may make Mars angry or whiny that he can't assist, and he may insist on coming to get her, which would not really help the situation. So I really love this analogy, especially since these two planets are both in water signs, which makes me think of emotional turbulence and drinking alcohol. Emotionality and alcohol don't usually equal a level-headed approach, so there could be a bit of an emotional roller coaster going on with this eclipse, and maybe even situations that border on irresponsible and risky behaviors, so just be aware of that. Putting all of these energies together, the Sun and Uranus conjunct in Taurus, and Mercury retrograde so close to the North Node and all opposing the Moon in Scorpio, near the South Node, and in a trine relationship with her host Mars. She will in fact trine Mars by degree about 12 hours later on May 6th at 1:49 a.m. Eastern Time. This feels like a major emotional release that could be partly fueled by some sort of great desire or need to take action on something that may not be in our best interest, and the opposing party is unpredictable, yet trying to be stable and dependable. Communication-wise, Mercury retrograde is inspiring reflection, contemplation, and an assessment of our basic needs within the whole situation. What have we been realizing we need to feel secure, safe, and stable? And I don't want to leave out Pluto, the modern ruler of Scorpio, and the natural signifier of transformation and irrevocable change. Pluto just stationed retrograde on May 1st, 2023, and is in a whole sign square relationship to this eclipse. Because Pluto just changed directions and is now going back over the things that were just revealed, I feel like there may be some of this going on in our own lives as well, which is like a deep probing search or a sifting through the rubble that's going on in the subterranean levels of our consciousness. The realization that change is occurring, but we need to go back and make a few edits to the story. My father, astrologer Dennis McNeil, shared with me his take on eclipses, and I'd like to share it with you all too. He said, quote, "Most people think eclipses have a negative effect. Something is eclipsed that was there before, making it harder to see clearly what to do. And while there is some truth to that, I think it is important to realize that eclipses are actually a time of greater focus on what is going on. If something is unresolved, then eclipse periods will provide a greater focus on the problem, with the chance of more clearly seeing what is working and what is not. It is less possible to ignore things during eclipse times. If it is important, then now is the time to understand it more fully. Therefore, a time of opportunity, calling for the discovery of something that has been overlooked or discounted. Eclipses bring up matters that are important and need to be more fully understood and realistically dealt with, something that many people are lacking in. Thus, the discomfort of facing our ignorance and the limits of our conventional perspectives, which have built us into our current conundrums." Unquote. Let's explore the tarot card associated with the decan that the moon is in during this lunar eclipse. The moon is at 14 degrees Scorpio 58 minutes, and therefore is within the second decan of Scorpio. Each sign is made up of 30 degrees, which are divided into 3 10-degree segments called decans. Each decan in the zodiac is associated with a planet in the Chaldean order and a corresponding tarot card from the minor arcana, numbers 2 through 10. If you'd like to learn more about this relationship, this is my favorite video that explains it by Window to the Soul on YouTube. The second decan of Scorpio is associated with the Six of Cups, which I have pictured below from the Illustrated Key to the Tarot by L.W. de Lawrence, written in 1868. The Six of Cups is about reflecting on the past, thinking about days gone by when you were a child and you were protected, carefree, and happy. It's about reminiscing about what used to be. This could represent thinking about your childhood or someone from the past in a fond way. I feel that the meaning of this card in terms of the lunar eclipse is symbolizing that what we are releasing, ending, or letting go may be from our past or our childhood in some way. The second decan of Scorpio is also ruled by the sun. The sun represents our life force, spirit, vitality, plotline, and generates love and illuminates that which was previously in the dark. So I feel like underneath the murky emotions of unhappiness, depression, sadness, and loss that we may feel as this lunar eclipse is so close to the South Node, representing an emotional release or dumping, is this beautiful bright light like the sun shining through the clouds. So we are going to take a swim in the emotion ocean, but then the sun will come out from behind the storm clouds and warm our wet skin, dry our tears, and we will shockingly feel refreshed. It's not a time to try to control the storm or the sun, because that's impossible, but rather just stay in the here and now, feel and process. It's not time to take action or make plans when we're under the effects of a lunar eclipse. So I invite you to be an observer and see if you can notice any of the archetypal influences going on in your own life or in the lives of those around you. Venus is in Gemini right now, and she loves to play games, so here's our game. Notice and observe the storm coming, the storm happening, and the storm passing, and then notice the calm after the storm. Lunar Eclipse in Scorpio, horoscopes for all 12 signs. For each sun rising sign horoscope, I am going to highlight where this lunar eclipse is happening in your chart and the area of life where you may experience an ending or a letting go of something that feels emotionally intense and deep, where that may be coming from, and what to focus on. This will make the most sense if you read or listen to your rising sign. Aries. The lunar eclipse in Scorpio will be happening in your 8th house of death, regeneration, debts, and other people's money, with the ruler of your 8th house, Mars, in Cancer, in your 4th house of family, roots, and endings. Since Mars is the dispositor of the moon, and the moon is the dispositor of Mars, the themes of self-preservation and family are underlying issues that may inspire the release that this eclipse is facilitating. This eclipse could bring an ending or a release from your soul contracts or bonds that you have with significant others in your life, especially your spouse, involving shared resources, debts, and investments. For a small percentage of you, this lunar eclipse may also bring out themes of death and regeneration. You could feel like you are cutting the cord from the support that you were dependent on, or a soul contract with a significant other. This could be a scary change as you adjust to being more independent, but the opposing energies, the Sun, Uranus, Mercury, and North Node, all in Taurus, in your 2nd house of money, possessions, and self-sufficiency, could represent a revolutionary renewal in how you support yourself, especially with Jupiter's imminent entrance into this house, bringing great blessings to this area of your life. In short, it's time to let go of the soul contracts or the ways in which you feel people owe you things and you owe them things. Work through the hard feelings and focus on your skills of self-sufficiency. Taurus. The lunar eclipse in Scorpio will be happening in your 7th house of partnerships, marriage, relationships, open enemies, and legal contracts, with the ruler of your 7th house, Mars, in Cancer, in your 3rd house of communication, siblings, and your daily route. Since Mars is the host of the moon and the moon is the host of Mars, the themes of relationships and communication are underlying issues that may inspire the release that this eclipse is facilitating. This eclipse could bring an ending or a release from your relationships or legal contracts. You could feel like you are cutting the cord with a lover, a spouse, or a business deal. This could be a painful ordeal as you learn how to communicate better, but the opposing energies, the Sun, Uranus, Mercury, and North Node, all in Taurus in your 1st house of self, health, and identity, could represent a revolutionary renewal in how you express who you are, independent of who you are in a relationship with. You are you, first and foremost, before you are so-and-so's spouse, lover, or business partner. This will become even more clear with Jupiter's imminent entrance into your 1st house of self, health, and identity, bringing great blessings to this area of your life. In short, it's time to let go of losing yourself in the identity of a relationship or partnership, and instead remember who you are independent of that. Work through any hard feelings this may bring up, and focus on your individual expression and expansion of self. Gemini. The lunar eclipse in Scorpio will be happening in your 6th house of stress, health issues, employees, and pets smaller than a goat, with the ruler of your 6th house, Mars, in Cancer, and your 2nd house of money and possessions. Since Mars is the host of the moon and the moon is the host of Mars, the themes of health and resources are underlying issues that may inspire the release that this eclipse is facilitating. This eclipse could bring an ending or a release from certain health issues that you've been dealing with, emotional experiences with employees or coworkers, or something stressful happening with a pet. For a small percentage of you, this lunar eclipse may also bring out themes of selfless service or feeling ignored. You could feel like you are letting go of something emotional surrounding a health issue, or a way in which you were sacrificing yourself for others. This could be an intense time while you figure out the resources you have to spend on this subject, but the opposing energies, the Sun, Uranus, Mercury, and North Node, all in Taurus in your 12th house of self-undoing and your blind spots, could represent a revolutionary renewal in how you work through unconscious programs, especially with Jupiter's imminent entrance into your 12th house, bringing great blessings of growth and redemption to this area of your life. In short, it's time to stop sacrificing your health for others, work through the unconscious programs that have been popping up like distraction, lack of attention, and ignoring your own needs, and focus on getting in touch with your higher self, staying in the present moment, and coming from a place of love. Cancer. The lunar eclipse in Scorpio will be happening in your 5th house of pleasure, creativity, children, and recreational activities, with the ruler of your 5th house, Mars, in Cancer, in your 1st house of self and identity. Since Mars is the host of the moon and the moon is the host of Mars, the themes of what you do for fun and who you do it with are the underlying issues that may inspire the release that this eclipse is facilitating. This eclipse could bring an ending or a release from something that is no longer serving you in regard to your sensuality, creativity, parenting, or recreation. You could feel like you are cutting the cord from a pleasurable pastime that is no longer serving your needs. This could be painful as your identity has been tied to this, but the opposing energies, the Sun, Uranus, Mercury, and North Node, all in Taurus in your 11th house of friends, groups, hopes, and wishes, could represent a revolutionary renewal in how you communicate your values to friends and family, especially with Jupiter's imminent entrance into your 11th house, bringing great blessings to this area of your life in the form of more friends or more money from your career. In short, it's time to let go of a pastime or creative project that is no longer serving your self-expression. Work through the hard feelings that this brings up and focus on the friends, allies, and careers that support your most authentic self. Leo. The lunar eclipse in Scorpio will be happening in your 4th house of family, roots, landed property, and traditionally the father, with the ruler of your 4th house, Mars, in Cancer, in your 12th house of self-undoing, unconscious programs, and animals larger than a goat. Since Mars is the host of the moon and the moon is the host of Mars, the themes of family and unconscious programs are the underlying issues that may inspire the release that this eclipse is facilitating. This eclipse could bring an ending or a release from family karma or even the sale of a family estate. You could feel like you are cutting the cord with a family member or family dynamic that is no longer serving you. This could be really hard emotionally, but the opposing energies, the Sun, Uranus, Mercury, and the North Node, all in Taurus in your 10th house of career, public recognition, and traditionally the mother, could represent a revolutionary renewal in what you do every day and what you are known for, especially with Jupiter's imminent entrance into your 10th house of career and public recognition, bringing great blessings to this area of your life. In short, it's time to let go of family karma, work through the hard feelings, and focus on your career and making a name for yourself. Virgo. The lunar eclipse in Scorpio will be happening in your 3rd house of communication, siblings, and your daily route, with the ruler of your 3rd house, Mars, in Cancer, and your 11th house of friends, allies, wishes, and money from your career. Since Mars is the host of the moon and the moon is the host of Mars, the themes of communication and friends, or money from your career, are the underlying issues that may inspire the release that this eclipse is facilitating. This eclipse could bring an ending or a release in terms of how you communicate, go about your daily routine, or karma with siblings. You could feel like you are cutting the cord with a sibling, community member, neighborhood, a way in which you currently communicate, or even a self-care routine. This could be emotionally uncomfortable, but the opposing energies, the Sun, Uranus, Mercury, and North Node, all in Taurus in your 9th house of belief systems, higher education, foreigners, and foreign travel, could represent a revolutionary renewal in your religious beliefs, higher education, or foreign activities, especially with Jupiter's imminent entrance into your 9th house, bringing great blessings of expansion and growth to this area of your life. In short, it's time to let go of a form of communication or daily routine that is no longer serving you. Work through the hard feelings of this release and focus on the ways in which you are expanding your mind, heart, and philosophies about life. Libra. The lunar eclipse in Scorpio will be happening in your 2nd house of money and possessions, with the ruler of your 2nd house, Mars, in Cancer, and your 10th house of career, public recognition, and traditionally the mother. Since Mars is the host of the moon and the moon is the host of Mars, the themes of self-sufficiency and career are the underlying issues that may inspire the release that this eclipse is facilitating. This eclipse could bring an ending or a release from a way of being self-sufficient or a possession that you have been holding onto that is no longer serving you. You could feel like you are cutting the cord from a job or a skill set that you have. This could be a scary change as you adjust to a new career path, but the opposing energies, the Sun, Uranus, Mercury, and North Node, all in Taurus in your 8th house of death, debts, inheritances, as well as soul bonds, could represent a revolutionary renewal in how you support others and how others support you, especially with Jupiter's imminent entrance into your 8th house, bringing great blessings to this area of your life. For a small percentage of you, this transit could mean that you are dealing with topics around death and dealing with the property of loved ones who have passed away. In short, it's time to let go of a way in which you support yourself or a significant possession that you have that is no longer serving you. Work through the hard feelings that this may bring up and focus on building your investments, assets, and important soul bonds. Scorpio. The lunar eclipse in Scorpio will be happening in your first house of self, health, and identity, with the ruler of this house, Mars, in Cancer, and your ninth house of belief systems, higher education, and travel. Since Mars is the host of the moon, and the moon is the host of Mars, the themes of identity and beliefs are the major underlying issues that may inspire the release that this eclipse is facilitating. This eclipse could bring an ending to a focus on self and identity. You could feel like you are letting go of a type of self-expression that no longer serves you. This could be a scary change as you adjust to being more relational, but the opposing energies, the Sun, Uranus, Mercury, and North Node, all in Taurus in your seventh house of relationships, partnerships, and open enemies, could represent a revolutionary renewal in how you relate with others, especially with Jupiter's imminent entrance into your seventh house of partnerships, bringing great blessings to this area of your life. In short, it's time to let go of focusing only on your own identity, work through the hard feelings, and focus on building meaningful relationships. Sagittarius. The lunar eclipse in Scorpio will be happening in your 12th house of self-undoing, unconscious programs, hospitals, and animals larger than a goat, with the ruler of this house, Mars, in Cancer, and your 8th house of death, shared resources, and soul bonds. Since Mars is a host of the moon, and the moon is the host of Mars, the themes of unconscious programs and how you depend on others and how others depend on you are underlying issues that may inspire the release that this eclipse is facilitating. This eclipse could bring an ending or a release from something you are doing that is undermining your efforts. For a small percentage of you, this lunar eclipse may also bring out a release around themes of health, hospitals, and confinement. This could be a very emotional period as you face what you purposefully hide from others and what you unconsciously hide that no longer serves your highest self. The opposing energies, the Sun, Uranus, Mercury, and North Node, all in Taurus in your 6th house of health issues, stress, and animals smaller than a goat, could represent a revolutionary renewal in how you selflessly serve others or take care of beloved pets, especially with Jupiter's imminent entrance into your 6th house, bringing great blessings to this area of your life. In short, it's time to let go of something you are doing that is undermining your efforts, work through the hard feelings that come up around this, and focus on redeeming your health and well-being through selfless acts of kindness and love without slipping into martyrdom. Capricorn. The lunar eclipse in Scorpio will be happening in your 11th house of friends, allies, hopes, and wishes, as well as money from your career, with the ruler of this house, Mars, in Cancer, in your 7th house of committed relationships, legal contracts, and hidden enemies. Since Mars is the host of the moon, and the moon is the host of Mars, the themes of friends and committed relationships are underlying issues that may inspire the release that this eclipse is facilitating. This eclipse could bring an ending or a release from your association with certain friends or groups. You could feel like you are cutting the cord from allies or networks that you are a part of. This could be a scary change as you focus on having fun and building meaningful relationships. The opposing energies, the Sun, Uranus, Mercury, and North Node, all in Taurus, in your 5th house of children, creativity, and recreational activities, could represent a revolutionary renewal in how you experience pleasure and express your creativity, especially with Jupiter's imminent entrance into your 5th house, bringing great blessings to this area of your life. In short, it's time to let go of friendships or networks that no longer serve you, work through the hard feelings that this brings up, and focus on what brings you joy and inspires your creativity. Aquarius. The lunar eclipse in Scorpio will be happening in your 10th house of career, public recognition, and traditionally the mother, with the ruler of this house, Mars, in Cancer, in your 6th house of stress, health issues, and animals smaller than a goat. Since Mars is the host of the moon and the moon is the host of Mars, the themes of career and health are the major underlying issues that may inspire the release that this eclipse is facilitating. This eclipse could bring an ending or a release from your career, what you do every day, or what you are publicly recognized for. For a small percentage of you, this lunar eclipse may also bring out themes surrounding your mother. You could feel like you are cutting the cord from your current career. This could be scary, as the future is unknown, but the opposing energies, the Sun, Uranus, Mercury, and North Node, all in Taurus in your 4th house of family, roots, landed property, and traditionally the father, could represent a revolutionary renewal in your foundational support structures, especially with Jupiter's imminent entrance into your 4th house of home, bringing great blessings to this area of your life. In short, it's time to let go of a public identity that is no longer serving you, work through the hard feelings, and focus on building a foundation that is solid and enduring with familial support. Pisces, the lunar eclipse in Scorpio will be happening in your ninth house of belief systems, higher education, foreigners, and long distance travel, with the ruler of this house, Mars, in Cancer, and your fifth house of children, creativity, and recreational activities. Since Mars is the host of the moon and the moon is the host of Mars, the themes of creative self expression and belief systems are the underlying issues that may inspire the release that this eclipse is facilitating. This eclipse could bring an ending or a release from what you believe to be true, or the end of an educational program or a long-distance trip. You could feel like you are cutting the cord from something or someone in one of these areas. This could be very emotional, but the opposing energies, the Sun, Uranus, Mercury, and North Node, all in Taurus in your third house of communication, habits, and daily route, could represent a revolutionary renewal in how you communicate, take care of yourself, and go about your daily routine, especially with Jupiter's imminent entrance into this house, bringing great blessings to this area of your life. In short, it's time to let go of a belief, an educational program, or a trip that you had planned. Work through the hard feelings that this ending is bringing up, and focus on how you think, communicate, practice self-care, and go about your day in a positive way. I hope you enjoyed these lunar eclipse horoscopes. I would like to leave you all with a quote that came into my inbox this morning while I was preparing these for you all that I think really fits the current energy so well. Quote, "Nothing ever goes away until it has taught us what we need to know." Unquote. Pema Chodron. As my father said, eclipses are, quote, "a time of opportunity, calling for the discovery of something that has been overlooked or discounted," unquote. I wish you all strength and courage as you go through this lunar eclipse. I would love to hear your thoughts, so please leave a comment. Take care of yourselves. I wish you all the best. Until tomorrow, Astro Mummy.
Thank you for reading or listening to the Daily Horoscope. Quick links and resources can be found at the bottom of the newsletter. If you seek knowledge and enlightenment, the Astronomy newsletter may be right for you. Side effects of reading or listening to the Astronomy newsletter are common and include joy, jubilation, delight, happiness, gratitude, love, triumph, feeling in tune with the universe, experiencing deep insights, reflections, and contemplations, a lightened soul, a lighter step, feeling awake when others are asleep, illuminated, enlightened, having spiritual experiences, noticing repeating numbers, animals in nature, or songs on the radio that speak to you, getting vibes, clairvoyance, clairaudience, and clairsmellience, feeling like you know secret language, biophilia, crying tears of joy, emotional literacy, feeling lively, stable, exalted, having an auric glow, or feeling like you woke up on the right side of the bed have all been reported. If you purchase anything through the affiliate links that I provide in the newsletters, I will make a very small commission. Thanks for listening.